To the prosperity of a nation, let peace reign. On the news this afternoon, angry taxi drivers in Port Harcourt block road to protest death of colleague. Former Labour Party chairman in Rivers State defends his decision to endorse PDP governorship candidate. Anambra State Governor said CBN has asked commercial banks to issue old Naira notes. On the foreign scene, scores of migrants die in Madagascar boat mishap. I am Kala Dakorubatbo. Good afternoon. Scores of angry taxi drivers blocked the roundabout in Rumokoro access Port Harcourt this morning. They are protesting the death of their colleague Simon Yerulam, who died this morning after he slumped yesterday during an altercation with an official of the Rivers State Tax Force. The protesters were seen with sticks and placards with an inscription, "No more tax force intimidation." The drivers are demanding for justice. One of them, who says is the brother of the victim, Emeka Ibe, told our correspondent that his brother was intimidated and beaten up by the tax force official. He said he was taken to the hospital afterwards, where he was confirmed dead this morning.
His motor is already filled. It's just a friend that he wanted to enter front here. So he want a person to enter. That's why they cut his valve. So he came down to ask them why. They carried his battery. He followed them to the office. That ends his life. They started beating him. To revise him, my brother already is weak. I said, what happened? They say he fell down. From this hospital at former Amazing Grace there, they now refer me to UPTH. Took him to UPTH. Around 3 a.m. this morning he died. So at the end of everything, it happened that one of the boys that followed me to carry him to the hospital was the person that pushed him, that he hit his head.
Some taxi drivers also spoke to our correspondent.
Everybody, we all the drivers, we are angry. None of them is in their office. And nobody's saying anything. So that's the reason why we blocked the Mokoro roundabout.
The old man is a very gentle man.
He didn't do anything. This is the normal roundabout that we do load.
Now I jacked him, you beat him, and you flog him in the floor, which the man have to hit his head on the pavement. The task force are not doing well. No matter how they are working.
We are waiting for justice to be done. We've gone to the police station. We've made a report there.
Let the Commissioner of Police, DP of Rumokoro Division, local government chairman, let them come.
The Rivers State government should come into this crime.
The Rivers State Tax Force is yet to speak on this. Moving on. Former chairman of the Labour Party in Rivers State, Danye Pepple, has justified his decision to endorse the governorship candidate of the PDP, Sim Fubara. Speaking on Nigerian Info at PDP session in the state, said his decision to endorse the PDP governorship candidate was based on interest.
This is a political process. You can be wherever you are and support your ideology. You see, this particular election, you see what is happening. You see PDP state working for APC national, APC state working for PDP national. Why? Because this time around, the kind of politics that is going on now is such that I've never been seen before. Now people are going for candidature, not party. People are looking at candidature, not party. We have a candidate, which we've been following. But of course, at times you need to come to the table. How serious is the candidate to win the election? Of course, Peter Obi won the election. The presidential election was rigged. It was rigged totally. The government in power. That's why I said that we are through with the national elections.
The Obidati Presidential Campaign Council is insisting that its supporters will not back down on their planned nationwide demonstration unless INEC grants the party lawyers access to materials from the February 25 presidential election. The chief spokesman for the Obi Campaign Council, Yunusa Tanko, accused INEC of disobeying the order of the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal to grant Obi and the party access to the certified true copies of materials used in the conduct of the elections. Meanwhile, INEC has denied allegations that it has refused to allow aggrieved political parties to inspect election materials as ordered by the appeal court. Rivers State Commissioner for Information and Communications, Chris Feinburn, says the statement by the former Minister of Transportation, Chibike Amechi, to revisit the issue of abandoned property in the state has received wide condemnation within and outside the state. Mr. Feinburn said this while briefing newsmen shortly after the State Executive Council meeting at the Government House in Port Harcourt yesterday.
Apparently, Mr. Amechi forgot that he had, as Speaker, several years ago, declared the matter of abandoned property closed. That was several years ago. Therefore, it gives the imagination why the same Amechi will today turn around to promise to revisit the issue of abandoned property just for political reasons, just to deceive Igbo leaders and their people for their votes for his chosen candidate. This is what has appalled people across, not just Rivers State today, but across even Bayelsa. We have received calls from everywhere condemning this kind of rascality.
On his part, Rivers State Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Professor Zacchaeus Adango, said there is an existing law on the management of abandoned property in Rivers State. Professor Adango said the issue of abandoned property has been legally closed and cannot be revisited.
The issue of abandoned property in Rivers is essentially and palpably one of law. You recall that the Abandoned Property Edict number 8 of 1969 established the Abandoned Property Custody and Management Authority and charged the authority with the responsibility of managing the property of non-indigenous left unattended during the Civil War. The constitutionality of that law has been tested in several decisions of our court, including that of the Supreme Court. And that law is still a subsisting law, and it has never been invalidated by any judgment of the court. It is therefore palpably injurious, if not completely misleading, for anybody to seek to politicize the issue of abandoned property. The matter, as far as we are concerned, is closed, legally closed, and cannot be revisited.
The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) says the reconfiguration of the bimodal voter registration systems (BVAS) will be completed tomorrow in preparation for the March 18 governorship and state assembly elections. INEC National Commissioner for Information and Voter Education Festus Okoye said this in a Channels TV interview.
And any BVAS that was used for the presidential and national assembly election that does not push to the accreditation back end, the data relating to the conduct of the presidential and national assembly election will not be configured. In fact, the BVAS will not allow itself to be reconfigured or reset if the entire data is not pushed to the accreditation back end. So I'm sure that by Tuesday, when we hope to complete the resetting of the BVAS, in all the places where elections were conducted, the results will have been pushed to the accreditation back end.
He said over 170,000 polling unit results of the February 25 presidential and national assembly elections have been uploaded on its result viewing portal IREV. The INEC National Commissioner for Information and Voter Education also said no political party will be allowed to look into the brain of the bimodal voter registration systems used for voter accreditation and electronic transmission of votes. He further assured Nigerians that the February 25 glitches of the BVAS have been resolved.
There were a few challenges relating to the conduct of the first leg of election, that is the national election. We have done some soul searching, we have done a little bit of evaluation, and we have also learnt some valuable lessons from the conduct of the presidential and national assembly election. And some of those lessons have been imputed into our preparations for the governorship and state assembly election. So I believe that despite everything that has happened, despite the challenges the commission had during the conduct of the presidential and national assembly election, at the fullness of time, I believe that the history will be kind to this particular commission.
Still ahead, Anambra State Governor says CBN has asked commercial banks to issue old Naira notes. Stay tuned as we go for a quick commercial break. Back now to the rest of the newscast. The police authorities in Kaduna State have vowed to arrest and bring to justice the masterminds of Saturday's deadly attack in Ngwan Wakili community in the Zango Kataf local government area, which left no fewer than 17 people dead. Explained the gunmen from unleashing more attacks on the community. The CBN Governor Godwin Miller has debunked reports that he was plotting against the president-elect Bola Tinubu. The rebuttal comes after a report alleging that its bank released 500 to the government candidate in Lagos at Roads Before. In a statement issued today, the CBN's acting director of corporate communications, Isa Abdul Mumin, said Mr. Emefiele has never met or even spoken with Mr. Gbadebo Rhodes Vivo. In business, the governor of Anambra State, Professor Charles Soludo, says the Central Bank of Nigeria has asked commercial banks to dispense and accept old naira notes as deposits. Professor Soludo made this known in a statement he posted on his social media handles. He explained that the governor of CBN, Godwin Emefiele, gave the directive at the bankers' committee meeting on Sunday. Soludo said Emefiele says victory is a beacon of hope and possibilities. After receiving our words at the Oscars last night, Yo also cautioned ladies not to be deceived into believing that they have ever passed their prime. In sports, Manchester United manager Eric Ten Hag has accused the referee of influencing their home game against Southampton on Sunday. United once again dropped points in the Premier League after a frustrating goalless draw against relegation threatened Southampton. The Red Devils had to play most part of the game with 10 men after Casemiro was sent off for a bad tackle on Carlos Alcaraz.
Now we're bringing you news from around the world.
The sign taken a heritage radio of my hit, but that sank. It says 23 of the passing gift. On the news ahead, angry drivers imported the runout in Rumukoroni to protect death of the former parliament investigate as if a decision to establish after SBN's acts commission issue all note. The following day, schools of migrants have died in Dhaka Busab. This was a deal in also son by hackers and pieces of heart the very definition that peace. I am Kalada Kurubantibo.